أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Is it working? It's good.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فقال الله تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي My dear brothers and sisters, today I have the opportunity to share a few words with myself first and foremost, and all of us. I come to you from a different state, and I want to share with the Muslim community a concern that we all feel already, but we need to do more about it. And that is the concern regarding the Muslim youth. As I look around the masjid, mashallah, I can see that the majority of the brothers that are here are probably above the age of 40. The question is, where are the people under the age of 40? Inshallah, I hope that they are attending other masajid. But unfortunately, we know the reality that the majority of the young people are not attending masajid as they should. And this is a problem which has some detrimental effects down the road. We were discussing that, alhamdulillah, this place used to be a church, and now it is a masjid. If you go back 30, 40, 50 years back in time, the churches in America were fledgling. They were full. They were packed. But they were packed with elders, not the youngsters. And when that elder generation died, the younger generation did not continue the task that their elders were taking care of. Eventually, it came to the point where churches are now being liquidated left and right. And alhamdulillah, Muslims are buying them and converting them into masajid. But if the same trend continues in the Muslim community, then fast forward 30, 40 years, when all the elders here are going to be died, the younger generation, if they are not connected to the masajid now, if we do not pass on to them the importance of the masajid and taking care of the masajid and sacrificing for masajid, then na'udhu billah, that younger generation might be selling these masajid to some other group out there. And the way that things are going in America, that group is not going to be a religious group. Maybe some dance club is going to buy a masjid and turn it into a dance club. Maybe some LGBT group will buy the masjid and turn it into something like that. But the way things are going, we have to really think about what are we doing to connect our youth to our masajid. My dear brothers and sisters, the first and primary responsibility with regards to our youth is the responsibility of the parents. And the parents have to, number one, establish a Muslim home. And then establish a masjid and be part of the masjid so that the masjid becomes such a place where the Muslim youth feel connected. And this is a big task, and I don't have enough time to discuss all of this. But I want to share with you, hopefully, inshallah, you can pass it on to the younger brothers and sisters that are not here today. There was a poet that many people who are from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh will know, Allama Iqbal, Muhammad Iqbal, rahimahullah. He was a poet who grew up and he saw the downfall of the ummah. And he saw when the Ottoman Empire was abolished, when the Khilafah was abolished, and he saw the pain of the ummah. And he saw that ummah was like a limb-like body. It had no strength, it had no backbone. And during this time, in the 1930s, I believe, Allama Iqbal, he wrote a famous poem that many of you probably have heard. It's called Shikwa, which is his complaint to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, "Oh Allah, I'm complaining to you that we are Muslims, we are the ones that worship you, but you are giving victory to those who do not worship you. Oh Allah, we are the ones who established Islam, but now we are the humiliated ones. But the ones who are fighting against Islam are the ones who are winning. How can it happen, Ya Allah?" This is my complaint to you. This is the summary of it. And of course, a lot of people at the time, they said, how can you say such a thing? And fatwas were issued against him. So the next year, he wrote the answer of this complaint, Jawad al-Shikwa. And in that, he basically, contemplated on the ayat of the Quran and the Hadith. And in a poetic, narrative, he basically responded as Allah would respond to this complaint. And he said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying back to us that yes, you are the ones who established Islam, but it is not you, it is your forefathers. And I gave them victory when they were true to Islam. Now, you yourself have given up the principles of Islam. And that's why humiliation has come upon you. So you need to wake up. It is not that I'm giving victory to the enemies of Islam, but it is that I don't see any true Muslims standing and fighting for Islam. You have adopted the principles of non-Muslims and you have given up the principles of Islam. You have given up loyalty to Allah and His Messenger. You are chasing the dunya. You are following those who are against Allah and His Messenger. So of course humiliation is going to come upon you. So if you read the poetry of Iqbal, you will feel the pain of the ummah. And some of the scholars have said that although he was a poet, but he was using poetry as a tool, but his poetry in essence is actually the tafsir of the Quran. Meaning, he's taking Islamic concepts and he's putting them in this imaginary manner, in the form of poetry, and trying to talk to the ummah and say, wake up, what are you doing? And the thing that I want to share in the last few minutes that I have left is that Allama Iqbal, he presented to the Muslim ummah the concept of a shaheen, a falcon. A falcon is a bird of prey that hunts. And it is the bird that flies the highest. And there's no bird that hunts a falcon. And Allama Iqbal, in many of his poems, he tried to shake up the Muslim ummah. And he basically begged the Muslim youth, learn from the shaheen and become a shaheen. Learn from the falcon and become a falcon. And in many of his poems, he speaks about the great qualities of the shaheen, that he's using that as a tool. He's trying to give you an example that you can learn from. He said that there are 5 qualities in a shaheen that the Muslim ummah, especially the youngsters of the Muslim ummah, need to apply and adopt. He said, number 1, a shaheen flies the highest. So don't be, as a Muslim, don't aim low, aim high. Our goal should not be from a defeatist mentality. We should not be thinking and flying and working like we are the weakest of animals and the weakest of birds. But we should be flying high, highest in the sky. And this is exactly, the time that he's talking about when the Muslim Ummah had victory. The Muslim Ummah used to fly high. They used to aim to do big things, and they used to achieve big things. To the point that the non-Muslims used to come and learn Arabic if they wanted to be considered educated. Arabic became the language of the educated people. The golden age of Islam corresponds with the dark age of Europe. When Europe was in backward ignorance in the 12th century, 13th century, you look at what was happening in the Muslim world at the time. The cities of Baghdad and Andalus, they were lit. They had street lights before the streets of Paris and London. So he's saying, oh Muslim youth, don't fly low, fly high. Aim high. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will help you. Who do you need to? You don't need the asbab from the people of this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you that ability when you aim to do that. That's number 1. He said number 2, Be like a Shaheen in the way that the Shaheen has foresight. The way that the eyesight of the falcon is one of the sharpest eyesights in all of the animals, among the birds and animals. You know that it could be flying so high, but it can see a small animal in the farm. When it's like hidden, but it's moving, you will find it there. You know, I come from Texas, and we have a lot of snakes there. But you don't find snakes out in the open. Because the minute that the snake comes out in the open, there's a falcon that's flying high, way high, that you can't even see it from your eyes. But that falcon will see that snake, and it will come and it will pick it up. So he says to the Muslim youth, you need to have a sight that looks way out into the distance. Don't just think about today. So many of our Muslim youth have been brainwashed unfortunately, by their parents into thinking, beta, all you need to do is become a doctor or an engineer so you could have a big fat paycheck coming to you. We need to think way bigger than that. Beta, I want you to aim to become the president of the United States so you can bring change at such a big level. Beta, I want you to aim to become the Nobel Prize winner. I want you to aim to be the one who is going to be the mujaddid of this century. The doctor and engineer is way down there, but that's what we have basically passed on to our kids as the vision that beta. If I will be proud of you if you become a doctor. I will be proud of you if you become an engineer. One of the great scholars of hadith, his father gave him 100,000 dirhams. And he said, take this 100,000 dirhams and replace them with 100,000 ahadith memorized. But for us, our vision has become so shallow that we're only looking at a paycheck. We need to change this. So he says, O Muslim youth, develop sight where you are looking to 20, 30, 50, 100 years down the road. If you want to bring change to the ummah, you need to look at not today, not tomorrow, but a week from now, a month from now, years from now, that the steps that I'm taking today, what will be their impact down the road? That's number two. Number three, he said that the Shaheen lives alone. Shaheen lives alone. They don't live in groups. Once they grow up, they go and they fly in their own area, and they're not very, very social. The problem with our youth today, hanging out is good, but too much hangout is not good. Because every single person that you can think of who is a very creative person, someone who invented things, someone who made discoveries, they spend lots of time in solitude, alone. And the Prophet ﷺ, where did he spend time in solitude? In the cave of Hira, right? Thinking. And that's where, when you're alone and when you're reflecting, your creativity gets unlocked. So you don't need to be doing that all the time, but we need to be doing that a lot more, where we're really spending time saying, what's the best that I can do? What can I do better than what I'm already doing? So spend some time alone. Go in inspirational spots. Go hiking. Go connect with nature. So that our inspirational part of our brain can get unlocked. That's number three. Number four is that a Shaheen does not build a house, a nest for itself. You know, every single one of us elders, right? People who are from the elder generation that have come here from other countries. Once we come here and once we get a basic job, we are able to pay our bills. You know what's the first thing on our mind? I have to buy a house, right? And then when we buy a house, we start to maybe second house, third house, fourth house, and we get busy in making houses. And so many times, so many people have knowingly, even though there are other options on the market now, so many people they say, you know what, there's no other option, I just have to go the the conventional bank route. And we are willing to just go and sign up to a contract, which Allah says that if you do this, you're waging war with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we are so bent hell-bent on making a home for ourselves that we're willing to compromise our Islamic principles. But the Shaheen, he doesn't build a house, he doesn't build a nest. In fact, when the Shaheen needs to lay eggs, because he is the most powerful bird, nobody can stop him. The Shaheen goes into other birds' nests and lays its eggs over there. Nobody is going to mess with the Shaheen. But the point that he's trying to make is that Muslim Ummah, you're so busy building your house in this dunya that you are not busy building a house in the hereafter. You're so busy building your own house that the houses of your brothers and sisters elsewhere in the world are being destroyed. But you are just worried about your own house. You need to get out of that lowly thinking. وَلَدَارُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ. The house in the hereafter is better. That's what we need to be achieving for. That's what we need to be aiming for. That's number 4. Of course, I'm not saying that it's haram to build a house. But I'm saying, what Iqbal is saying is that don't let that be your sole focus. You know, in America, and a Muslim in America, if you get married, you have a kid or two, you buy a house, you have a car, you have achieved the American dream, now you just have to basically wait until death. But Iqbal is saying, no, that's not, you have not achieved your dream yet. You have a lot more to do. Keep going. Aim high, fly high, look into the distance, and try to build something for the hereafter. Number 5, the Shaheen. It does not eat except what it catches itself. You know, the famous line is that, and I always butcher the Urdu poetry because I'm not, I wasn't raised in Pakistan. But Chapartna, Palatna, Chapartna, Lahu Garam Karne Ka Hai Ek. Basically, he says that the Shaheen, when it comes and catches a bird, so he catches a bird and lets him go. Then comes around, grabs him again, lets him go. He's basically playing with him because the Shaheen is so powerful and flies so fast. It can maneuver so good that these birds, they have no chance of escaping. So why does the Shaheen catch a bird and let it go? He says, I'm just doing it to keep my blood flow. I'm just exercising. But the Shaheen, if you grab that bird and you kill it and put it in front of the Shaheen will not eat. Because it has been programmed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you only eat what you catch yourself. What is halal risk for the Shaheen is only that which it catches. The Muslim Ummah, one of the biggest pitfalls of the Muslim Ummah today in America is haram income. So many Muslims are so blind about money that they are working in banking institutions, they are investing in banking institutions, they are selling alcohol, they are selling pork, they are lottery and all of these type of things. And haram income, it has so many effects on a person. Among them is that the Prophet ﷺ said that a dua of a person, how can it be answered if his mat'amuhu haram, wa mashrabuhu haram, wa malbasuhu haram, that his food is haram, his drink is haram, his clothing is haram, فَأَنَّا يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ. Then how can his dua be answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when everything he's eating, he's wearing, it's all coming from haram? So haram risk, one of the side effects of it, your dua may not be accepted. Number 2, when you feed your children, haram risk. When you feed your children, haram risk. Do you think that your children are going to grow up to be like Khalid bin Walid and Umar bin al-Khattab? The scholars in the past used to say that the food that we bring home to our children, if it's even doubtful, we keep it away from them. Because we don't want to feed them, we don't want to feed them haram, but not even doubtful income, we don't want to feed our children. It has to be halal and tayyib. So the Shaheen has been programmed and taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you only eat what you catch. This is halal thing. So we need to learn to earn halal and eat halal. And I don't mean it in the zabiha halal debate. I mean in the income. Where are you earning your money? You know, there's an old joke that somebody who sells alcohol and pork and everything, and he goes to the halal meat store and he says, brother, are you sure that this meat is zabiha halal? While the money that's in his hand is coming from some of the most haram products out there. So my dear brothers and sisters, we need to teach ourselves and then we need to pass these ideas to our children that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given honor to halal rizq. It doesn't matter where your rizq comes from. If you have to be cleaning people's toilets, you are more honorable in the sight of Allah than a billionaire who is making money from interest. The Prophet ﷺ said that the lowest form of interest is like committing zina with one's own mother. But subhanAllah, people respect that man and they look down upon the man who is maybe cleaning people's toilets and he's cleaning people's houses and he earns a few dollars. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best meal that you can have on this earth, the best meal that you can have is meal that you earn with the work of your own hands. This is the best food that you can. It doesn't matter what the food is, where the money came from. So these are the ideas that we need to pass on to our younger generation. And you know what, my dear brothers and sisters? Inshallah, I'm going to end right now. That our enemies know our weaknesses. They know that we are addicted to the luxuries of this world. We want to build a house here. So they say, don't speak against us, we will give you a house. Don't stand against us, we're going to give you the luxuries of this world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq to follow the vision of Iqbal, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to turn our youth into the young shaheens that we need them to be. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. الحمد لله رب العالمين إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد نبيك وعبدك ورسولك اللهم صل عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه وذرياته أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا شاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح إقامة الصلاة إقامة الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Please make sure the lines are straight. Making the line straight is a part of the Salah. If you have any gaps between you and your brother, please fill them up. Maybe another brother can come. Not, anybody consider there inshallah? Allahu Akbar. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I have some announcements. We have the food pantry. We can use volunteers. There is a donation box that we've set right before you walk into the hallway. So please donate generously. Weekend Saturday school starting tomorrow, the 10th of September. Registration is open. Financial assistance is available for the parents who need it. Ongoing Nazira program for boys and girls is Monday through Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Before winter starts, we need to raise funds for the HVAC system. Compassionate Care in Schaumburg is pledging to match the donation, so please donate generously so we can get that done. Mr. Gustavo Salgado from Lake County Health Department WIC Agency outreach program will be available at the Masjid Rehman on 30th September after Jumah Namaz. The WIC is a preventative public health nutrition program that provides clients with health screening, referrals, nutrition assessment, breastfeeding support, and nutritious supplemental foods. These services are available at no cost to the residents of Lake County. Jazakallah.